And good afternoon to those of you tuning in around Australia and the world. It is round 2 of Super Rugby Next Generation. It's a double-header in the Golden West with the Force hosting the Brumbies. This is coming to you live on Rugby.com.au and the Stan Sport platform. Lockie Gray in the box with you today, alongside Wallaby 894 Nick Frisby. And Frizz, both sides still chasing their win in Next Gen.
Yeah, good afternoon, Lockie. Great to be here for this one. Conditions could not be better for this afternoon's clash, and I'm excited to see this young talent on display. And as you mentioned, both sides coming off losses last week. The Force, well, they were annihilated by the Tars. They'll be looking for a big response. And the Brumbies, they went down in a pretty close one to the Reds. They were right in that game, but some little pieces of accuracy let them down. Plenty to like about that from them. But yeah, as I said, conditions look good. Should be plenty of running rugby here this afternoon.
Perfect, dry, fast deck in the Golden West, and then both sides need it, don't they, Frizz? It's last chance saloon already. We know Super Rugby Next Gen, such a short, fast competition, and if you're not in it in round 2, you're not going to be in the mix here. So let's have a look at the home side rolling out Sawyers, Mexon and Smith into the mix for the first time in the tight head jersey. Keep your eye on Nate Gallagher at the back. He's the anchor man. Crew and Johnson reprise their roles. A new halves pairing too. Luke Aitken, Justin Landman parachuted into the side. Hooper moves into 12 from 13. The try scorer last week, Fatani Tavake, slips into the 13 jersey. And keep an eye on Ryan McGloin. He's moved from fullback to the wing to create space for Tama Anderson. So plenty of new faces in there for the Force. 9
changes, and they'll be looking for a big response. 97-5 last week against the Tars, so plenty to do for them. And a couple of changes for the Brumbies as well, particularly in the back line. Blake Miller, he starts on the wing. Malachi Inesio comes into the 13 jersey. Really looking forward to seeing how he links up with Chase Oates at number 10, who just continues to impress every time he takes the field. And it's a great back row too. Cooper Eagle got through a mountain of work last week. And Eli Lungy, well, he is just physical, impressive every time he takes the fields. And unchanged in the tight, Gordon, Hanson, Smith, Kruger and Heppy in the tight.
You've got to love the consistency that the Brumbies roll out. It's the same starting front row. It's the same front row off the bench as well. There's a lot of junior Wallabies caps. It's that typical Brumbies style, right, Frisch? You see so much continuity in the tight 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the tight 5 so critical to the way they play their footy, isn't it, across all levels. For a number of years now, they've been so consistent in the scrum, in the line-out, in the maul in particular, being a huge weapon of those, and no different here for the next gen.
That's what it's all about. We love seeing the next generation of Australian talent coming through. We're going to see the Brumbies slowly trot out onto the field now. And like you mentioned, Frizz, they are littered with stars. I don't think many come bigger than Malachi Inesio.
No, he's a talented boy, isn't he? He's obviously played Super Rugby under-19s with the Brumbies. He's come through their pathway. He's got a crack with the Aussie 20s last year and really impressed over there. I think he's one with Super Rugby potential future written all over him, and looking forward to seeing him continue his development here this afternoon. We'll get plenty of good ball. Chase Oates at 10, nice and direct. He'll preserve the space for him nicely, and he's just physical, hard running, got good footwork, possesses an offload as well, so a bit of everything for Malachi Inesio.
Like you mentioned, working with Chase Oates too, he was so effective last week. Oates laid on 3 try assists. He's got a good short game, but it's the long balls that created so much space to do the damage against the Reds last week. As we see the Force slowly trot out onto HBF Park here, it is absolutely glorious conditions, and that man leading them out the front, Luke Holt-Brown, got through a mountain of work against the Waratahs last week. 24 tackles, 2 steals. He's a fetcher's dream, and like so many coming out of the West, bit of a Matt Hodgson clone in the making.
He'll probably still be sore from that effort last week as well. 24 tackles. That is impressive, but he'll be looking for a bit more help this week. They were absolutely dominated, particularly physically in that game against the Tars, and they've rung in the enforcements, made plenty of changes. I like the halves that they've brought in, Lukey Aitken, Justin Landman as well. They'll bring plenty of experience. They'll steady the ship a bit better this week and get them around the park.
And the Force just had absolutely no pill, no possession, no territory last week, Frizz. They were down to 30 on both fronts. So for them, it's just about getting the ball, getting themselves into the game, because we know that they have strike weapons out wide. And then on the flip side, the Brumbies, they probably really missed a couple of those key crucial moments against the Reds. They were right in that game too.
They had the better of the ball, didn't they? They had all the territory, all the possession, and just probably accuracy in the A zone let them down. A few little things to fix up on defence as well.
So there we are, just waiting on the whistle of our man in the middle. Sam Jones is going to be our chief whistleblower. Jordan Kaminsky and Petrus Van Aswayan on the sideline. Perfect running rugby conditions just as we wait for the final kickoff here of our double header coming to you live on Rugby.com.au. It's Super Rugby Next Gen. Make sure you stick around on Stan Sport as well for the Super Rugby Pacific offering. It's a massive weekend with Super Rugby getting underway. Drew and Moana, if you're watching on multiple screens at home, make sure you get Stan up. But full focus here as Brumbies enforce round 2 of Super Rugby Next Gen gets underway at HBF Park, and it's the Brumbies running right to left on your screen who kick off deep into the 22, and the exit scrambled, somehow regathered by the Brumbies, and it's a brilliant start for the visitors. Prime position in the attacking 22, and the big boys go to work early. Here's Watson looking for a wide runner, settling in the midfield, but plenty of pressure coming there from Daniel Grant in the 6 jersey for the Force. As Brumbies getting muscled over early by the Force following that error. Watson again distributing. Good straightening run now from Breton, but he's met solidly. Tries to get the arm free and does to Watson, who needs to find a runner, finds one in Jarvis Orr, the hard-working fetcher. Scored an excellent try last week and been promoted to the starting side is Jarvis Orr. Now the Brumbies look to play with a bit of width, straightening the line. That man we mentioned off the top, Malachi Nazio, he is solid as they come. But so far the Brumbies making not a lot of headway. Force defence holding resolutely, even driving them back. Cooper Eagle, now the man to straighten the attack as the Brumbies look for a seam in this sky blue defence. They're getting driven back, and they're getting driven back solidly. Nate Heppy can't break the line this time. Oates finds a long ball, and now a bit of space for Jacob Johnson. And the advantage is paid, so Brumbies' patience starting to pay off, and they can roll the dice here should they choose to. Watson wants to go midfield again. But not a lot of support there behind Billy Hanson, and they'll come back for the penalty. Whew. Side to side stuff, but not a lot of go forward, Frizz.
Not a lot of go forward. Some really good defence from the Force. Brings some muscle, particularly through the middle of the field. Daniel Grant, the new man into the squad, he was heavily involved and forcing this Brumbies side backwards in attack. But I think they'll be pleased with that, the Brumbies. As we mentioned, inaccuracy on A-zone attack last week let them down. They're still here. They're still building pressure. The opportunity to go back to the set piece now and launch another wave of attack and try and get some first points on the board.
Definitely the right call, you feel. You could knock the easy 3 over, but Next Gen, we want to see people and players tested at set piece, tested in pressure opportunities, and now both sides have the chance to do that. Now the Brumbies win and set their rolling maul, and it looks solid too. They've got great shape there. And Edwald Kruger, who scored a try off the back last week, now looking for back-to-back games. Well held by the Force so far, so Watson's going to go off the back, but swimming through the middle illegally this time is Johnson. But no, it's turned around. Great pressure at the back, Frizz.
Well, I thought he had his hand out for advantage there, the referee. As you called, Lockie, this was beautifully set up. Just take a look at the length here in the Brumbies maul. Got that ball transferred nice and easily to the back, and this looks like it's just starting to creep towards that try line, but the Force able to swim through. It's big Max Johnson, I think it is, in the 5 jersey. He's just able to break through the front line of the Brumbies defence right there, get his hands on the ball and make a mess of it, and that's a brilliant start for the men in blue. They'll be absolutely thrilled with that after conceding 97 points last week. They've held strong on their first effort in defence here this afternoon.
Well, first real test, and they've definitely passed it there. You did see the arm pop out for advantage, but it was quickly turned around, so straight away from the line-out we get to see our first scrum set of the day, and very exciting to see the matchup. Josh Smith coming into the side for the Force. It's his Next Gen debut. He's a former junior All Black here, Frizz. Racked up 8 caps for them previously. Got 6 for the Force already. He's signed with the main squad through to 2027, really shoring up those tight head stocks in the Golden West.
That's a great prospect for the Force, isn't it?
And early dividends here. Just a bit of an early engagement, so the pressure starting to pay off. They hold their own at line-out, they hold their own at scrum, and a chance to exit for the hosts here. 4 minutes gone, no score yet at HBF Park. The first of a doubleheader here on the stand platform, and Next Gen through Rugby.com.au. Brumbies still with the pill though.
Don't get a chance to breathe just yet, the Force. Only 25 metres out here still. Brumbies need to find a way to try and get some momentum into their attack. At the moment, the Force pack is just handling their runners with ease. They've got to find some footwork, try and get some little seams, and create some front foot ball for Chase Oates.
And there's that man Oates, but unfortunately this one's spilt from Breton. And the errors, the critical errors in attack that plagued them last week are starting to rear their head early.
Yeah, that's sloppy, isn't it, from Breton? Under no pressure at all here. This is in the breadbasket from Oates. He just has a little look up here, Breton. He's just starting to think about what he's going to do. Just had a little peek right there as that ball hits him in the hands, and another let off. You mentioned those errors on attack. Well, they had a mountain of opportunities. 54% possession, 62% territory, 13 entries into the 22 last week for just 5 tries. So I would have talked about that all week. Just that patience, that ability to convert pressure into points, and be disappointed with their opening 5 minutes.
And the Force now have advantage from that scrum, so they're going to chance their arm. They head down the left wing. There's great shape here for Johan Beckcroft. Just pops out to the side, but taken on the mark, and a little bit of excitement on that far wing. The backs going to have a lot of pills. Certainly the Force have been doing the lion's share of defending early, but a nice little raid down the far side of your screen from Johan Beckcroft.
Yeah, it was sharp, wasn't it? They found the space with ease on the left off the scrum.
Perks of a midfield scrum, and this clearance from the mark hasn't gone out, so a chance to counterpunch here from Justin Landman for his first game of Super Rugby Next Gen. His new partner Luke Aiton out of the Sunshine Coast. Coming into the 9 jersey, but he's immediately under pressure. He's swallowed up by Jack Gordon, who does a good job to bring him to ground, but Aiken up to the task. Landman goes into the halfback role, and there's the man with the break from earlier, Bearcroft. They'll play with advantage. It looks like that one's gone a little high, so a chance to play with some house money. And they'll take to the skies here, a wonky old cross kick. But the bounce is favourable. Now a chance to attack from McGloin, who was so good last week, and he puts the afterburners on. Might have been hit a little high there, but we're going to play to the referee's whistle here. The Brumbies just managed to scramble back in time. And Sam Watson will take the aerial route out of his 22. Keeps this one in, but only just. It's a good position, and now Justin Landman looks to square up the attack. Evan Hooper, the South Australian, now links up with Bearcroft, and a chance for the Force. They're streaking down the left edge. If we can finish here, it's the skipper, Luke Brown. And the Force open their account at home in round 2. Try time for the Sea of Blue.
Beautiful work from the Force. The captain, Luke Brown, it's a classy finish on the left edge, but the work in the middle of the field was just beautiful. The box kick, it was just a touch too long, uncontested in the air. And have a look at this work in the midfield. Landman takes it. This is the key possession here. Squared up beautifully, put Beckcroft through the hole, and Luke Brown scores untouched in the end. The Force starting this game with a bang. They did it with their defence down the other end of the field. And geez, they've looked sharp with the ball, Lockie, to start.
Well, danger signs down that left edge early. We saw at the initial break from Johan Bearcroft out of Cottesloe, just his chip and chase getting taken down, but he sliced them up, and it was Evan Hooper in the 12 jersey who did such a beautiful job of squaring up the attack. And how's the big left foot from the flanker?
Yeah, Evan Hooper was the man. He just summed it up to perfection at the back. Skipped overs, just drew in that second defence, put Beckcroft through a yawning hole, and Holt Brown did the rest.
Brilliant stuff from the Western Forces. We see on the replay, didn't look like too much was on, but Landman slowed down, made the right choice. Here's Hooper, such an exciting prospect. He's come out of the South Australian system, the Western Forces new pathway program with Rusa, and he actually went over and played a bit of footy in Christchurch too, so he's been looking for his opportunity, and he ends up now setting up a brilliant try in Super Rugby Next Gen. That's what it's all about, giving these young blokes a new opportunity. So play resumes. The Force 7 lead the Brumbies, yet to score, 9 minutes gone. And just misreading that kick is Fatani Tavake. Didn't get a finger on it.
That's 2 restarts in a row the Force have been unable to handle. Get away with that one. They will have possession. I like the way they've been really keen to shift the ball to the edge. They've found space with ease against this Brumbies defence.
Well, something we saw last week, Frizz. They were so good with ball in hand, but they just never had it. The Tars just swallowed them up in a couple of errors on the wing too, and they were hot on attack, so they're certainly chancing their arm early. But this time, they decide for the safe option. That's Landman pumping it downfield, and now Chase Oates, who's going to look to square up this counter-attack. The first touch here for Harvey McLean is a slippery one, but he still breaks out of a tackle, and now there's a chance for them to attack down the left edge, squaring up in the middle. Beautiful ball. Blake Miller rather on the inside to Malachi Inazio, and there's still 2-on-1 down the side. Jarvis Orr. He's a tough man to bring down, but Fatani Tavake does a good job of doing so. As the Brumbies look for a block play, it's quickly shut down in a good spot tackle from Daniel Grant, who shut down a dangerous opportunity. The Brumbies looking to play with width early, as Watson now looks to square things up with the forward runners. The Brumbies getting more players around their ball carrier now. It's a bit more secure, but again, the Force up to task defensively. That line speed is excellent, Frizz.
Yeah, that carry there is what I'm talking about. It's just straight and direct into the teeth of the Force defence, and they're just eating it up. Got to find some footwork and try and find a seam.
They'll look for it now, the wider runner. It's Inazio who flings a long ball to Jacob Johnson. He was excellent last week too. Topped their carry meters for the Brumbies, the man in the 11 jersey. And now Eli Lange wrestling out of a couple D. He's such a tough customer, Eli Lange. If you've seen him in a gold jersey under 18s level, you know how tough he is to bring down. And there's his compatriot, Cooper Eagle, who you mentioned, Frizz, was so good last week. The Brumbies building more pressure, building more phases, but that's just a little accidental offside, little error.
Yeah, it's a little bit sloppy again. The backs just going off flat ball consistently, unable to get anything going, and just getting in each other's way here. This is just a communication area. We've got 2 or 3 blokes running the same hole, and no space at all for Harvey McLean out the back there to try and shift that ball to the edge. So once again, the Brumbies building patiently, but unable to find any holes in this Force defence.
They did a great job too there, Frizz, of sucking in the defence. They had a 6-on-4 on that far side, but just as you mentioned, running the same holes, cutting each other off. They're probably their own worst enemy. The Force are making themselves, well, the Brumbies are making the Force certainly look a lot better than perhaps they've been playing, as the hosts now get a chance to attack from scrum time. They immediately throw the cut ball, and Fatani Tavake is quick, and he links up on the far side with Tamar Anderson. But just a little bounce play in the middle there. Looked like it could have gone forward, but plays are going to continue as McGloin is eventually dragged down. And Aiken, who's been solid since coming into the halfback role. But that offload from, I think, Nate Gallagher popped out a little loose, so Watson now wants to exit through Oates. And that's a lovely kick deep downfield. There might be a bit too much pepper sauce on it, and it will roll dead, so get out of jail free for the Force there. They're in a tough position, but that just rolls dead.
Yeah, and this is a golden opportunity to attack here now. They're going to get a scrum 40 metres out. Brumbies are going to have to contend with about a 25-metre blindside. Really difficult spot on the field, and we've seen already the Force backs, they've picked off the space beautifully. Wide passing game is on song. This offload was a little bit loose, wasn't it? Through the middle from Gallagher, and then the kick from Chase Oates. Just didn't get enough angle on this. He'd found the space, needed it to sit, but the hard, flat deck over in Perth carries it dead.
He was thinking 50-22, wasn't he? He was just wanting to get that angle right, but it's turned around, and you can see, you mentioned that big blind before, Frizz, they've stacked behind the scrum. So if you keep your eyes on the Force, you've got Landman, and lurking just behind him is McGloin. So don't be surprised to see a bit of loop happening here. A couple of players out the back.
Well, the Brumbies haven't numbered up on the short side at all. So there's free territory here for Landman and McGloin to come down this short side with Lukey Aitken.
And don't forget, plenty of running off the back too. Gallagher can carry, and Aitken sneaky as well. As we see this scrum go to ground, and they'll play with advantage now. Gallagher's the man who takes it off the back, and he makes some decent meters too. All's over the top, putting pressure on, but they do recover. So now the Force attacking their favoured left side. Anderson, the man who scrambles towards the 10-2. They're on the edge, and they're starting to pick up the attack here. Johnson carries strongly, and now they are over that white line. So Force hot on the attack, and Josh Smith now the new man. Takes 2 to bring him down. And not rolling away this time are the Brumbies. So more advantage, more pressure to build. They're going to chance their arm with a chip over the top. Eventually, it's a good take by Jacob Johnson to shut that down, but they'll come back for the penalty. Good signs from the force.
Yeah, he had to be good there, didn't he, Johnson? The kick was on the money from Landman, and McGloin was just there putting enough pressure on to make Johnson make a play. The Brumbies, I don't think they've adapted here in this opening 15 minutes. The force, they're throwing plenty of wide passes. This Brumbies defence is really tight. They need to fix their spacings, cover the field a bit better, and try and shut down this wide-to-wide approach from the force. Caught them napping here early, and 15 minutes in, they're going to get another great opportunity to get some more points on the board.
Well, this is prime time, right, isn't it, Frizz? That first try coming off the counter-attack. We haven't really seen the force across either of these games so far have a chance to really lay siege inside the 22, so a great opportunity from set piece. Now Luke Megson, the man, to find his target, and it's a consistent front row with the second row unit too, so Will Crew and Max Johnson reprising their roles. Johnson, the man who flies high. And Holt Brown, the try scorer from earlier, just coughs up his lollies. They won't let that play on. And just another early error from the attacking side when it matters.
Yeah, it's disappointing from the force. A first phase error, golden opportunity to apply some pressure. 22 times last week they turned it over on first phase, which is just not going to win you any game. You won't beat an under-7s team doing that, but there was space there again. Holt Brown off the back. He had Megson following him on the inside, and that was on. So creating plenty of opportunities, but once again, just that execution you mentioned.
Well, the Brumbies not out of the woods yet. They've scrummed well, though, so they'll exit through Oates as we start to see a few fans piling in as well, which is great to see at HBF Park as we look to a double header, the first of which, Super Rugby Next Gen on Rugby.com.au, and both games available on Stan Sport. It's great to see Next Gen folded into round one of Super Rugby as well, Frizz.
Absolutely. The double header this afternoon, fantastic. And what I've loved about these Next Gen games, and even the trial games for the Super Rugby, they've all been afternoon games. Plenty of chances for the fans to get out, the young kids to get out and get up close and personal with some of the stars of the future, and really just enjoy what rugby has to offer.
A good couple of weeks over in Perth. Had the sevens last week. Fans are being spoilt as the force look to attack off a midfield line out, and they straighten the line through their skipper, Luke Holt Brown, who's met solidly by his opposite. Ball still with the force now as they look to try and punch through the middle, almost breaking through the line that time. Beecroft, the man who set up the first try. And a very flat pass there from the force. They get away with it in centre. But plenty of pressure coming over from the Brumbies now. They seem to have picked up their defensive line speed. And the force trying to build phases now as Aiken goes digging. They look back to the right. Smith plays out the back, and a chance for Lambert, who trips and is buried in the tackle of Anasio. Well, you heard the call of forward from the side before the ref said it, Frizz.
Oh, that was flat. Lukey Aiken, he was just falling back, which just sort of creates that illusion of forward out of the hand, but happy with the call. That ball out the back to Justin Landman is starting to create some real issues again in this Brumbies defence. And it's the forward carriers that are doing the damage. Here's Landman out the back. They found the space there. Fatani Tavaki was through untouched in a hole. I'm okay with that ball. I know I'm a biased former halfback, mate, but I'm okay with that.
So the Brumbies get away with one there after the force really started to punch that right edge. And the scrum so far for the forces have been excellent. They win a tight head now. So Josh Smith bringing dividends early in his first run at Next Gen. Landman goes into the role of halfback, and the force now looking to counterpunch. There is space out to the left if they can get it there. And that's what Landman tries to do. Finds Hooper. Hooper steps off the left. Hasn't he been good, Evan Hooper? And he curses the commentator, coughing it up as soon as he calls it. Now Oates wants to counterpunch, fakes the kick, flicks it out the back. And Jarvis Orr eventually wrestled to ground towards the tram track. So, playing with advantage now. Just the knock-on call are the Brumbies. Here comes Langy. Needs to get his hands on the Pillmore. Such a damaging runner. The Brumbies just haven't been able to use him yet. Chase Oates goes to the sky. Remembering there is the knock-on advantage. So, the Brumbies, I reckon, have just overcooked it here. And instead it will be a penalty to the force.
Oh, that's a poor error. This is offside. On the kick chase, that's just unforgivable. It's a good contestable kick. There's plenty of pressure there. They'd actually done a good job to almost regain this. Ruled to be offside on the chase. Ignacio was getting up high. I know you put the curse on him, but Evan Hooper, he's an A-classy young player.
Looking very solid so far. It's the understated kind of performance we love to see from a centre, just straightening the line, creating space for those around you. We'll have a quick drinks break here, but very exciting stuff for young Evan Hooper. He was probably their premier ball runner against the Tars in the limited amount of pill that they actually had for his 4 tackle busts, a line break against a very, very good Tars back line, and he's actually shifted in from 13 to 12, so far so good, I think you'd say.
Yeah, and that's a good move for him. From what I've seen so far, he's got some ball playing skill as well. He set up that first try for Holt Brown with a beautiful bit of skill with ball in hand, and the last couple of minutes we've started to see his running game come back into the fold as well. Big left foot step there, opened the Brumbies up, looking dangerous every time he touches it. And to have a guy like that at 12, I like that move, one in closer to the ball. As we said, wide variety of skill set, just gives your attack so many strings to the bow. He's hurt them on a couple of occasions. The boys sucking in the big ones. Well-earned break after 20 minutes. Aren't they supposed to be under 21s? Come on, boys.
Cool, this extra conditioning. It's tough going in the Golden West there, Frizz.
Yeah,
and
it's hot.
And you have to say the Force have really turned it around. As you mentioned, 97-5 last week. It was a tough day over in Western Sydney for them. That's about as tough as it gets. But they've had the Brumbies measure so far.
They have. They've been by far the better team on the field this afternoon. They've thrown plenty of punches in attack, found plenty of space, but it's been their defence which has been most impressive, hasn't it? So we see this first try again. Landman. This is this piece of ball playing we spoke about from Hooper. Skips across and then just squares up. Beckroff does a beautiful job, follows him into the space. And Holt Brown, he'll be relieved. He 24 tackles last week. He's had to do a little bit less defending this week and gets a try for his efforts as well. But they've looked the sharpest with ball in hand and some real starch in defence. I think Daniel Grant coming into the side has been noticeable through the middle, and so has Max Johnson, actually. He's been very good as well.
I'll tell you what, Daniel Grant came off the bench last week, but really interesting character as well. They've got him across from South Africa, so he's one of the proper rising stars of Cape Town schoolboy rugby, Daniel Grant, and they're really high on him. So he's been promoted after, I think he had 15, 20 minutes off the bench against the Tars, brought immediate impact, that big sort of Safa starch. You know what it's like going over to the high belt and getting smacked around. I think it's that mould of raw bone flank that they're really keen to bring through at the Force.
Oh, he's a great size for a flanker too. Like, he's got the height of a second rower, but he's mobile and dynamic around the park. And physical, like, that makes sense now. that he's South African.
Part of the
having
DNA.
Flashbacks. He's been really impressive.
So what do the Brumbies need to do here, Frizz? We've seen them sort of go side to side. What do they need to do to straighten up? Is it depth? Is it a bit more speed?
It's got to start with the forward carry. It really does. I've spoken about it a number of times now in the first 20 minutes, but they're just finding no front foot ball at all for their backs. And we're seeing Chase Oates. He's consistently getting that ball with the Force defensive line, almost moving forward onto him, taking his time away and not enabling to ball play as well. So their forwards have got to find a way to combat this aggressive Western Force defensive line, find some seams, use some footwork, try and get over that gain line and bring their backs into the game.
So here's the lay of the land after 20 minutes. If you're just joining us on Rugby.com.au or the Stand platform, it is the Western Force 7 leading the Brumbies yet to score in round 2 of Super Rugby Next Gen. It's a double header, so make sure if you're around Perth, get down to HBF Park. It's going to be a brilliant afternoon. Super Rugby Pacific to follow as well. As we return to live pictures here, it is the Western Force with an attacking line out and they're mauling well. So far it is Luke Megson reprising his starting role from last week, and aren't they getting a roll on here, the Sea of Blue. Handout goes out for advantage as well from referee Sam Jones, and it's all the hosts so far. This one getting dragged down. Surely you got the line again.
Absolutely. That was a demolition job in the maul. The Brumbies pack just dropping like dominoes as the Force just surged through them. And this time they get a chance to load up from 5 metres out, and if they can deliver the same dose there, they'll have their second try of the afternoon.
Huge pressure now building on the Brumbies. They looked so good against the Reds last week. They're up 14-0 after just 10 minutes. Eventually got reeled in, but the maul was their Achilles heel. They conceded 4 maul tries last week, the Brumbies, and the Force will have seen that. They're going to try and expose it here as the blue jerseys get set and they get a shift on. Nice work moving to the right there, and they're looking very dangerous indeed. Bodies piling in. Eventually it has been dragged down. No arm out yet. So the Brumbies get away with one there, and Hooper is the man to restart this attack for the Force. They are 4 metres out, and they're hitting the line nice and hard. Max Johnson surging forward. He's just short. I'm not sure if they'll call it held up. The call will be to release, and the ball is fed back, but they're looking very dangerous at the Force. Now the arm goes out. Time to apply the blowtorch. And the Force diving. Have they got there? Let's have a look, but early signs are good, Frizz.
Oh, I think it's Luke Megson who's dived for the line, and I think he's got this down. Straight on the line, first effort. The referee's just on the wrong side of the ruck. I think he's missed it.
Oh, here we go. So we've already seen a yellow card. That looks like it's gone to Billy Hansen. So it will be no try, but the arm went out and the referee's had enough. So that is a yellow card for the number 4 for the Brumbies. He was their top line-out target as well, and that's a huge blow.
This is a really good call too. They've gone for the scrum. Look at this from Luke Megson. I think he gets this down straight away, bang, right on the line.
I reckon you're on there, Frizz.
Referee just blindsided, so you could understand the call, but still a huge task ahead for the Brumbies. Really, really smart game calling here, going for the scrum. The Brumbies obviously now a man down in the pack, so a big decision to make. Do they bring it back onto the side of the scrum? Do they try and stop it with 8 men at the source?
Bold call to go 7 here. They're not playing with an anchor man, so they've shifted Cooper Eagle into the second row, and the Force immediately put the squeeze on. They're driving forward and they're looking very solid indeed. Playing off the back now is Gallagher, and he's going to go close. Just dragged down. Desperate stuff there from the Brumbies, but all momentum with the Force. Josh Smith surging, but held. Oh, he's been well turtled there. That's desperate stuff from the Brumbies, but the pressure again. It's turned up to 11.
This was a powerful surge from Josh Smith, wasn't it? Just looked like he was going to spin out of that contact and slam that ball down. And this is as tough a test as you can get on a footy field. Here's that play from Josh Smith again. Did really well just to beat the up high contact here and swivel out of it. The Brumbies defence just does enough to come again, get back underneath the ball. But 5 metre scrum, 1 forward down. The Force pack just looking menacing every time they go to work. And options galore here. The backs are spread either side. Landman is sitting right in behind the scrum. He'll follow this whichever way it wheels, and it goes right.
So Landman straightens the attack. He's going to chance his own arm here. Jarvis all over that hill, but illegally so. Now the Brumbies have to be careful here.
Trouble.
We've got the double blow from Sam Jones. And I wouldn't be too surprised to see another slice of cheddar dealt if the Brumbies aren't careful. Let's have a listen here. So Cooper Eagle, the skipper, having a warning, I dare say, Frizz. That is 4 penalties in the past 3 minutes, and they've already got a man in the bin. Gee, what, if I was the Force, I'd almost be thinking about keeping it in this scrum and marching it over.
I've got to go back to the scrum, absolutely. Have to go back to the scrum, especially now given that warning.
So 24 minutes gone. Brumbies with a man in the naughty corner. Force up 7-0, bashing on the door. This is exactly what Next Gen's all about. It's about getting that next generation of Australian players in tough positions, making them ready for the step up to Super Rugby. We absolutely love to see this. There's been not too many runaway tries, but this is perfect preparation for the big leagues.
It's one for the purists so far this afternoon. But as you said, it's another great addition to the Pathways calendar. And given these guys that are on the fringe or sort of in between, like finished with their under-20s jersey and trying to press their way into Super Rugby, another platform to perform and to continue to develop.
Selection for under-20s Australian on the line. TRC in April. Just keep your eyes out for that as the Force march forward. Oh, this is one hell of a scrum from the host, the Sea of Blue, getting behind their boys as they march and march. Aiken, eventually it spills out Nestle, and Evan Hooper has to step off that left foot. The Force now looking to apply the blowtorch. Here's Aiken. feeding around the corner to Will Crew, who's met in a strong tackle. The force keep coming. Brumbies on this like a limpet though. Have they got that one? Oh, huge play. Eli Lange. Just when they needed their big men to step up, the biggest man in the pack does the trick.
Yeah, it's a crucial penalty for the Brumbies. And maybe just a touch of inexperience letting the force down. I don't think there was any real need to try and get that ball out of the scrum. Going forward so well, and then got a little bit desperate at the back, and somehow it came out. And this is a big play from a big player, elevated into the Brumbies top squad this year, Eli Lange. He's been a star on the rise for a long time. I know they were absolutely thrilled to have him back available for this next gen competition, and that's what you need from these guys with that experience, coming back in, having an impact and standing up when they need it most.
I've seen it already in sort of Brumbies preseason frizz, a couple of media opportunities. Rob Valentini got up and he said Eli Lange is one of the hardest hitters already, and he's only 18. So, if Bobby V's saying this bloke can hit, he can absolutely lay it on.
Yeah, take a big man to lay Rob Valentini out.
Absolutely monstrous. How is he 18? He's just incredible. Eli Lange. If you keep an eye out too for his brother Edwin Lange over at the Tars, playing in the front row, another superstar, but gee whiz. Get Stocks and Eli Lange and get him in early. As the Brumbies now, after soaking up so much pressure with a man in the bin, they find themselves with ball in hand, just inside their own half. Soaked up 4 minutes already of that yellow card, so massive defensive play for the Ponies. They look to get back into this game. They haven't thrown a punch since the opening 5 minutes. It's been one-way traffic for the Force, and now piggybacked back-to-back penalties. The tide could be turning here.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned that they haven't thrown a punch, and we've probably been critical of them on comms as well, but 27 minutes in, it's only 7-0 still. The Force unable to capitalise on all the possession and the opportunities they have, and that's what I'd be saying if I was the leaders out on the field now for the Brumbies. All right, like we've absorbed some pressure. We're 27 minutes into the game. Hey, it's only 7-0. We're still right here. We're right in this. Get back to our systems, simplify things a little bit, look for some execution, and just try and work your way back into the game. Done that beautifully there in that little passage of play. A little win at the breakdown, then a win at set piece, and a golden opportunity now to get on the board.
Massive turnaround, and this bloke's been busy too. Jarvis Orr, such an exciting prospect. He's come through the Global Sevens pathway as well. He's represented Australia under 18s and 15s and in 7s. So keep an eye out for the Brumbies fetcher, who breaks off the back now. And he goes link man with Dylan Breton out of West Lions, who was so good as well. He's played a bit of Global U7s too, has D. Breton. And now the Brumbies, after soaking up all that pressure, find a seam through. Anasio throws a speculator back inside. He didn't need to do that though. They had the Force on the rope, and they'll come back for a scrum, but just the wrong call again in the right part of the field.
Oh, finally some front foot ball. It started with Breton off the line out, got in the seam nicely, got him over the gain line, and now we can see what they can do. Watson, that is a glorious pass from the little halfback. Backed up beautifully with a nice line from Ignacio, and he'd done enough there. He's in the backfield, take the tackle, go another phase. They score on the left-hand corner almost certainly if they retain that ball. But good signs for the Brumbies. A bit more physical, getting over that gain line, winning some physical battles, and we can see what they can do once they get an opportunity.
Gee, great to see Breton on that hard unders line too. They just need someone to start straightening that attack, and he certainly did so. Big Nate Heppy backing up on the inside for Anasio. I don't think he was going to pick that up his bootlace. But you're right too, that was an absolute peach from Sam Watson.
That's a great pill from the little halfback. Just took one step out, just engaged the defence and just ripped it across the face of 3 players. And those are the little combinations that you work on at training. You grab a winger or you grab a centre and run some little lines in and around the breakdown.
Great face ball there. So it's the Force now with their chance to exit. The Brumbies applying a bit more pressure, but the arm goes out. So scrum time has gone the way of the Force, and they want a chance their arm from inside their own 22. How good is this? Fatani Tavake, the man who runs them out of their own 22, and the Force find their spark again. Landman takes to the toe with front foot ball, and it's a good little kick. It's found some grass, but well controlled at the back from the Brumbies, who will now look to counterpunch. Stumbling over is the counterpunch of the Brumbies, and wrapped up there. Oh, it's gone the other way.
Geez, that's a tough call.
I thought McGloin was all over that.
McGloin all over that ball. The tackle was made by Sawyers. And McGloin was straight in over the top. He had every right to lock this ball up. He'd won the race. The referee sees it differently, and perhaps the Brumbies get away with one there.
Sort of got a bit tangled in this counterpunch, didn't he, Jacob Johnson? He just didn't know where to go. Maybe it's that peel against Sawyers.
It's Sawyers underneath for not rolling away that's given McGloin the opportunity to get a shot on the ball. Spot on from the referee.
Well, that's why we're in comms, right, Brisbane, not in the middle. Not in the middle for a reason. Keep us away from a whistle.
I've also never put my head in a breakdown in my life, so I have no idea what goes on in there.
So Brumbies now, after a bit of helter-skelter, 31 minutes gone, looking to try and cash in. We've already seen a change. So Lipina Ata comes onto the field. Another junior Wallaby. He's got 8 caps in gold, 3 tries. He's a product of the Eastwood Club. Been snapped up by the Brumbies, and he can't find his mark off the back, but it's gone over the top, and now surging through the middle was Oates, just dragged down in a desperate tackle from Nixon, and immediately the Force pick one off. It's Evan Hooper again. He's been busy and just put down backwards, says the referee. So you can just feel the energy's really picked up a little bit here as we tick towards half time. Force 7 leading the Brumbies 0, and it's the Force who scramble out from behind their own goal line. Touchfinder is sold. They'll get back down towards the 10, but desperate stuff after what looked like a Chase Oates try coming up.
I think I've got a new favourite player too. It's my man Evan Hooper in the midfield. I don't know how he came up with that ball. He flew out of the line, took an intercept, and then the Force missed an opportunity. It was on the left edge. The shift was on. They had him shot to bit with numbers. Made a mistake of their own.
Got another new man on the field, a famous Wallaby surname, Finn Baxter in 17, son of the great Al, making his own legacy. He's got 5 junior Wallabies caps to his name. He's carving a career in Canberra for himself. Chase Oates with a beautiful long ball, and he hits Langy, who puts it on the toe, and the chase is coming in hot, but it's just gone a fraction dead in goal, do we think? The referee agrees, so it doesn't come off. It's the Hollywood play from the big star. This time just dribbles out.
I think it was the right play. The space was there in behind, but just lacking some speed. Maybe could have come off the outside foot there and just attacked that little seam with some real aggression and some speed. The ball from Chase Oates was of some serious substance. He's a classy player. He's got all the skills. He's big. He's a good size for a 10. He's physical. He's got a brilliant passing game, short or long, good kicking game, good calm head on his shoulders as well.
Sure, and he's starting to build into the game too. He wasn't quite getting the attack firing early, but we're seeing his confidence growing through this one. And as we mentioned, 3 tries this last week, 1 off a short ball, but 2 beautiful cuts to find try-scoring opportunities against the Reds last week. That was an absolute peach, and maybe a chance for Langy on the inside too. He had Miller and McLean backing up, but the Brumbies, well, now they're the one turning the screws. It's their first penalty at scrum time. What an introduction from Baxter and Utter.
Yeah, and their energy's lifting. You can feel, like you mentioned Chase Oates building into the game. Well, as is the rest of this Brumbies side. The forward pack has gone to another level. The coaches have rung some changes, and they're getting an immediate reaction here out on the field. And this would be a huge result for the Brumbies side. 6 minutes here before half-time. Geez, if they could hit the scoreboard and come away with some points, get into that half-time break equal or only just down, take a lot of confidence.
Well, massive slaps on the back for Keegan Daly, who's just come on the 18 jersey, played Aussie Schools last year, and he yields an immediate penalty. But this ball from Arta fires over the top, so now the Force will look to counterpunch, and the hands go. Oh, it's scrambling stuff at the back. Let's see what the referee's call is here. The danger station for the Force, close to their own line, throwing it around. I think we're going to come back. Just a little error.
Well, McGloin, he went for the bat on him. He's actually in a yawning hole. All he had to do is catch that ball, and he was through. It's still going to be a Force ball. Again, sloppy at set piece from the Brumbies. Uncontested on the back shoulder. There's no need for that to go down. But look at this. McGloin, he's gone there. Just catches that. He's in a seam. He's got Tom Lambo unmarked on his outside.
See the conditions taking their toll. We're seeing the bench already moving before half time, and Tom Lambo's an exciting prospect too in 23 as the Force play with a bit of advantage off this scrum. Got a bit of time with these Tigers in Brisbane last year, Frizz. Very silky customer. So we'll come back here for the penalty. And just starting to get a little scrappy, a little loose before half time. It is hot and heavy out there.
Yeah, it's to be expected, isn't it? It's been a lot of ball in play. It's been wide to wide. There's been some long passages of play, and it's hot out there. So this 3 or 4 minutes just before half time becomes a little bit scrappy. And a chance here for either. This game is just wide open for either side. It's just begging for someone to put their hand up and take control. Sort of bounce in between the 22s for the last 15, 20 minutes.
Feels like a lot has happened for a 7-minute
does,
scoreline
yeah.
after 36 and a half minutes. So the Force, through Megson, find their line-out target, and now a chance to counterpunch. It's our man Hooper in the middle, who's been so impressive and surges through 2 tackles, eventually dragged down by Arta. But that's great front foot ball for Aiken, who plays left in a nice looping shape. Sees Grant storm up the middle. Oh, a chance goes begging. Beckcroft could have given that one, but the Force still hot on the attack after a big surge from their South African flanker. Knocking on the draw of the 22. Landman plays to midfield. Dragged down in the centre. And they loop around to the right now. Getting more and more touches is Landman as Holt Brown, the try scorer, surges up. He can't get an arm free though. That's a great drive into the 22. Force hot on the attack. Watson looking to put pressure on, but instead he's given away a bit of offside advantage. So what can the Force do here in the shadows of half time? Hot on the attack in there, attacking 22. Aiken plays Landman. Lambo onto the field. He's well handled this time. And Aiken opting for a box kick. He knows he's got advantage, or he certainly hopes he does. So they come back.
Gee whiz, that's a bit of a soft finish. I'm all for having a crack on house money, but that's just an easy let off there from Aiken. Gives the Brumbies a chance to take their breath. Look, they're going to set a full line here now.
It just didn't look like there were any kick chasers on there, Frizz. It could have been a fun option, but I think we'll see them go to the line. We've seen them get so close from the maul so far. We know it was a weakness of the Brumbies last week, so just where you want to start twisting the knife for the Western Force, 5 metres out.
This was glorious, wasn't it? It was a set play. It was an 11 play. They hit the midfield with Hooper, who's just carving him up with late footwork, and then the sweep back with Landman coming across. Daniel Grant on the short ball. Thing of beauty.
And they're still in prime position. This ball has been swallowed up by Megson at the back, so he's done a good job to recover there, and they're still moving forward. Looks like the bodies will stop him short, but the arm has gone out, so it's all one-way traffic. And somehow splitting the gap is Will Crew. Oh, well, he's picked the Brumbies' pocket, Frizz. He goes straight up the guts. No one was looking, and the biggest man on the field sneaks one.
Everyone just clocked off, didn't they? The ball was stuck on Luke Megson's right hip, and Crew, just with the presence of mind, just put his hands around it, pulled it out of his pocket, and dives over for the 4th second. And that is a big blow right on the stroke of half time. The Brumbies leaking at the set piece once again for the 2nd week in a row. And it wasn't pretty, it wasn't perfect from the Force, but they've just found a way. You can see the setup at the back. It was Megson who had control, and they were going towards the try, and it looks like it's stopped for all money here. William Crew, great presence of mind. Geez, that's sloppy around the edge from the Brumbies. Couple of blokes having a breather there. Jarvis Orr, he's in disbelief at what he's just allowed to unfold in front of him.
Well, Will Crew won't score an easier try than that. The gate's just open in front of him, Frizz, and he strolls over. We didn't even take a step, he just fell. Couldn't believe his luck. So a massive blow on the stroke of half-time. Western Force 12 lead the Brumbies, yet to score after so much pressure from the Brumbies inside their attacking 22, but they couldn't convert. And a couple of errors later, it's the Force leading by 2 tries. A handy lead after what's been a pretty tight first half.
Yeah, and that one hurts. You can see that the heads just go down a little bit from this Brumbies side. They scrapped their way back into it. And now they concede right on the stroke of half-time.
So we're in the referee's hands now. Clock's in the red on our end, and it looks like the Force will be happy to pump this straight out and call it oranges here in round 2 of Super Rugby Next Gen at HBF Park, the first of a double-header with Super Rugby Pacific to follow. But it is the hosts here. 12 leading the ACT Brumbies, yet to score. And you'd have to say, probably one of the better turnarounds we've seen from the Force after last week. They are humming so far.
Yeah, an unbelievable coaching performance after being blown off the park by the Tars. They've been come out firing here this afternoon. Deserved 12-point winners over the Brums at the break.
So 12 leads nil. We'll be back very shortly after a quick break.
So another season excitement is off and running. Oh my goodness! Here we go! Fantastic skiing.
Unbelievable scenes.
Where on earth did he find that one from? Big hit made. What an absolute scorcher. This is something else. That is nothing short of magnificent.
My mind, it hasn't been right. I'm afraid. But I can't afford to be afraid.
Most people's first instinct is to run from danger. You ran right towards it.
Who are you?
Memory of a Killer. Stream now, only on Stan.
Oh my goodness! Here we go! How many rotations is that?
My brain just exploded.
Down we go!
Oh, wow. So hungry for the gold.
She's the Olympic champion! Oh, that's spectacular!
I promise to protect this family.
I got you.
Everything I'm doing, I'm doing for you.
We were brothers for life.
You can't trust anybody.
Sometimes the people that you trust the most can turn on you with no warning.
Family sticks together no matter what.
PFL 2026. 24 events worldwide.
The king has returned!
Featuring the biggest stars.
Shiva silences the doubter! Paul Hughes goes back!
With a singular goal. Give fans the best fights. More drama. The PFL 2026.
You understand how massive this is going to be?
How good was that? Brilliant play!
No man has ever beaten me.
Now I'm a little intimidated.
Guess what I got?
A restraining order from another recipient.
That's funny. It kind of is.
We've got some problems.
If you don't go to him, it'll haunt you forever.
In 2026, let's watch together on Stan.
Let's go.
Good morning, folks. It's a lovely day here in Portland.
100 miles an hour. Power making moves from Rockland.
All 5 lights are on, and we got green in Mexico City.
In the darkness. Trouble!
He's going to stay low over the next
Great
jump.
spectacle in racing. 300,000 plus in the stands today. We've seen it all. Are you kidding me?
Oh, ladies and gents, welcome back to the call here on Rugby.com.au and the Stan Sport platform. It is the Western Force 12 leading the Brumbies, yet to score in round 2 of Super Rugby Next Gen. And what a turnaround it's been for the Western Force, Nick Brisby.
Yeah, an exciting first half, and they've lit it up, particularly in attack, had plenty of opportunities. That man there in the 12 jersey, Evan Hooper, having a huge first half. That was ball playing of the highest order. He put Beecroft into a big hole, and Holt Brown, the number 7, finished it off. That was the first try of the afternoon. Both sides had plenty of opportunities. The Brumbies had their share of ball and unable to capitalise. And this one, on the stroke of half-time, a real killer blow from the Force. And the Brumbies just clocked off around the fringe of the maul, and it was big Will Crew. Presence of mind, reaches back, grabs the ball, crash over to score their second of the game and opened up this 12-point lead, which we see at half-time. And all to do for the Brumbies in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely, and remember, such a short run in Super Rugby Next Gen, just 3 rounds, so whoever loses this game, they are well and truly out of the running. Of course, Reds against the Waratahs tomorrow. Here's your scorecard. Crew and Holt Brown, the try scorers. Landman 1 from 2. There's still plenty of time, though. 40 minutes in the heat. It's going to be tough asking. And there you have it, Ballymore Stadium tomorrow. It's going to be an absolute belter. But here on HBF Park, we saw the bench has already been taken too early. Frizz, we've seen front roast come on for the Brumbies. We've seen fresh replacement. It is tough conditions out there in the first of a doubleheader in Perth. What are your memories of playing out in Perth, whether it's in a Reds jersey or elsewise? It's tough conditions when it's hot.
It is, yeah, it's sapping conditions. I always remember the field at HBF Park as well. It's a thick grass. It really puts the fatigue in the legs early, especially with the long flight over there a couple of days before. So no doubt tough conditions for the youngsters out there.
So the Brumbies, as you said, with everything to play for so far. It is 12. The Western Force leading the ACT, yet to score. We'll be back after a short break. Well, welcome back to the call. Here it is, Super Rugby Next Gen in the Golden West. We're in the second half of the Western Force taking on the ACT Brumbies, and what a turnaround it's been in a week for the Western Force. They went down 97-5 against the Waratahs. They now lead 12 points to 0, but the Brumbies, I mean, what can they do, Nick Frisby, to turn things around?
Well, they need to find something. They were pretty poor in the first half. I'd like to see Malachi and SJ get some more ball as we see play get underway, but he's a seriously talented ball runner and we just haven't seen enough of him. Tossed up, potentially moving him one in from 13 to 12, where he starred for the Aussie 20s last year, but we'll see what happens in the second half.
Well, it's certainly still going the Force's way from that kick-off. A messy receipt from the Brumbies. It's coughed up, and now the Western Force with a chance to throw an early punch here in the second half, and the cut ball is beautiful out wide to Ryan McLeod, who's got great feet. Met in a strong cover tackle there. Harvey McLean had to make that hit and did so, but the Western Force now moving quickly, but a chance to counter-punch. It's good turnaround from the Brumbies. Being pulled back here, there must have been a little knock-on, but at least both sides throwing it around early.
Oh, what a start again from the Force. They've played with such good width today at every opportunity they've had, and once again finding space on the edge with ease. And this was silky. I didn't see who threw this ball, but this was a glorious ball over the top, putting McGloin in a heap of space. And I like this. He just took on the defence at the back, carried hard, recycled the ball. And that tip pass from Megson just goes down. Led off early from the Brumbies.
Yeah, it's beautiful shape. It's Jackson Rapata in the blank jersey, so we've been waiting to see when the Western Force would inject this Shoot Shield winner into the mix. If you're not across, Jackson Rapata had an absolute stormer of a Shoot Shield season last year with Warringah. Got his shot in Super Rugby Oz for the Waratahs. He actually broke Western Force hearts to try in that final, and now he's here after a train and trial with the Western Force in that blank jersey in the back line. So keep your eyes peeled for him. So we'll come back after that failed attack. Early penalty advantage given to the Brumbies, so they get a free exit, but Rapata, what an excitement machine.
You've been excited to see him get on the field, haven't you? We spoke about him off-air pre-game and his journey and what he could do out here this afternoon. Wow, what a first touch that was. A cut ball, 15-metre cut ball onto the chest of McGloin, put his winger away beautifully. Came to no avail. Here it is again. This is silky. Just nice and square into the line. See how he sits down the two outside defenders, preserves the space for his outside man. That is high-class ball playing.
A strong start there from the new man. It looks like he shifted in at the expense of Fatani Tavake. So you've got Evan Hooper, who I think has impressed us both for his so far in the 12, outside in Rapata. But
geez, that's a good centre combination now, isn't it?
Very sharp. The Brumbies now with the pill, though, after that penalty. They've kicked upfield, they've secured their line out, and they're starting to get a rumble on. We didn't see much more play for them in the first half as Watson pops this one over the top, and he's just sat it out. So a little kick error there off the left foot. They had a strong chase, but an early let off there for the Force, and they'll be back hot on the attack inside the attacking half.
Yeah, I wonder how long it'll be before we see the Brumbies maybe make some chase Giros, sharp halfback on the bench, who I know you like as well, mate. Maybe it's time to get him out there. Watson's been solid, but he just hasn't been able to spark this attack, has he, with Chase Oates. Giros a real threat around the ruck. Brings something a little bit different to the game.
As the Brumbies end up stealing this one, a good win in the air from Billy Hanson, who had some time in the naughty chair earlier. But that kick bounces and it's kept in play, and it's a strong run here from Tom Lambo in 23 for the Force. Good counter ruck from the Brumbies, but the Force get it back and they'll attack in centre field through their big man, Max Sawyers. Now a chance to play with a bit more width, and Hooper, they had space for days out there. 3-on-1 was created, and it just gets coughed up. Neither side able to really nail these attacking phases, Frizz.
Yeah, it's a sloppy start from both sides. Hooper, he'd done a good job here, squared up into that space once again, and that ball just behind his number 8, Nate Gallagher. He was away untouched, just needed to be on his chest. The big man at full pace couldn't handle, but as you said, a bit of a sloppy start from both sides to start the second half. The Brumbies, they're just not making smart decisions. They're kicking away far too much ball. I know that's been a theme of theirs across all their sides for a long time now, that they play very little footy inside their own half. But what we've seen the Force do really effectively is build momentum up the field with their width and their running game. I think the Brumbies could take a leaf out of that book.
They certainly can. Now they're going to attack centre field from a nice scrum platform. Good shape from Inazio as Oates throws a cut. And now a bit of sparkle from the Brumbies, who attack through Blake Miller. He scored a try last week. We know he's dangerous, but he's barely seen the footy in this game. The Brumbies all of a sudden starting to pick up the pace here after 2 phases, playing with a bit more width. Watson looks for a runner, finds one. His skipper, Cooper Eagle, who's eventually wrestled down. The Force doing a god job at slowing down a bit of this attack after some early spark, but bouncing out of this one, Dylan Breton. Tough man to bring down. The Force now give it a chance to reset in defence, so they've absorbed this early pressure. Now the Brumbies need to find a new seam. Chase Oates plays inside, and almost through there is Blake Miller, who's got a couple of touches in this phase now. Good counter lunch rather over this ruck. The Force trying to slow things down again, but the most sustained pressure in possession the Brumbies have had for some time. Busting the line was Inazio, just coughed it forward. Lapina Arada can't control, and the Force once again escape.
Oh, it's like deja vu, isn't it? Brumbies building pressure and then just finding a mistake. That was better in attack. We see them access the edges, bring some width to the game, play out the back, and then as a result, it opened up the spaces through the middle of the field. We saw Chase Oates cut back, throw a nice inside ball, found some space, got over the gain line. We saw Dylan Breton sniffing around, running some hard lines through spaces. So looking sharper, the Brumbies, but just still not able to find that last pass when they need it most. And the Force doing a good job still in defence. Physically, they're doing a wonderful job at getting dual contacts. They're getting someone in down around the hips, crunching low, and then some big physicality over the top. And like you said in the call on the run there, Lockie, doing a really good job just slowing that ball down whenever they can.
Tell you what, you mentioned him in the first half, but Max Johnson still doing a power walk in that number 5 jersey for the Western Force. We know he's a bit older. He still fits into this next-gen bracket, but a bit of an older head doing wonders at getting this defensive line up and really upping the physicality too. So scrum time, Force peel after forcing the error, and Aiken's got acres of space left and right. They decide to pull the trigger left, and Hooper throws the cut ball. Lambo finds a new runner. It's a lovely infield from Beecroft, but just a touch forward. They really are pushing these edges, aren't they?
That's another tough call from the ref. I think this one is definitely forward. Beecroft was just desperate to try and find Lambo back on the inside. They're just getting to the edge with ease. The Brumbies spacing just has not adapted once this afternoon. Probably a pretty fair call, the forward pass, but
stop-start nature of this game continues, Freeze. It feels like we've never really found a true rhythm. 48 minutes gone, the Force up 2 tries to 0, but both sort of came out of nowhere as a funny old try. That one just before halftime with Wilkrew sort of splitting through the middle of the maul, and the first try that ended up coming to Luke Holt-Brown was very early doors off some broken play. So both sides just misfiring in attack. We'd love to see something start to click and the Brumbies will have a chance. Penalty given at scrum time. It's dropping on this close side. The penalty is against Bradley Cohn, who's come onto the field. He got a Super Oz cap for the Force last year. He's actually a product of Queensland. He's an old Red Heavies boy via Tokyo Sun Goliath. So some interesting journeys in Super Rugby Next Gen as the Brumbies kick a little further downfield, and that's a good touch finder. Actually gets them just outside the 22, and the Brumbies, well, they really need to start down their set piece lines if they want to fight their way back into this contest. Just over half an hour to play.
You just get the feeling if the Brumbies can hit the scoreboard just once, you just feel like they can click into gear here and blow this game open. And the Force have just continuously left the door open for them.
So Langy flies high from set piece. And breaking off the back is Orr. And Orr's got plenty of toe. Throws the dummy and then the offload. So skipper Cooper Eagle stripped in that tackle. So again, momentum stalls in this game. It's like a learner driving clutch for the first time. It's hard to watch, Frizz.
It is hard to watch, and that's just basics. That's ball security. Like, all done a fantastic job here off the side of the maul. Like, really good speed, gets into the seam, throws the big dummy, gets a one-on-one, wins the contact, gets an offload. It's just ball security. You cannot have that stripped on the way down. Your side's on the front foot. You got to wrestle, you got to win the physical battle, and you got to do whatever you can to retain the ball for your side. And once again, the Brumbies, a first phase error, and another opportunity goes begging.
Props to Luke Megson there, though. Had to make that big defensive play, and he did. Gets his side out of trouble. And now the Force, they're full of running, and they run out of their own 22 through Landman, who's been one of their best so far in the 10 jersey. Playing off the back now, Daniel Grant, the big Safa, charging into the teeth of the Brumbies defence, and Aiken takes a snipe. Makes a few good metres too, but he's wrapped up. Eli Langey's all over him, and that's a second turnover. He's really starting to assert himself.
Yeah, he's been good, hasn't he, Lungy? Defensively, we know he's always a presence. Probably hasn't had the impact in attack this afternoon as he would have liked. Hasn't had many carries, but that's his second turnover of the afternoon. The first one was a really pivotal moment in that first half. And this was another good one too. Lukey Aitken just poked his nose through. Gets himself isolated. You can see the desperation from Lungy. You could sense Aitken was isolated. He wanted to get in there and make a play for his side. And is that the moment that sparks this Brumbies side into gear? Their best player, their biggest player, standing tall, giving them an opportunity. Can someone go with him?
You just feel like the damn wall is close to breaking. Either way, we're just not sure who's going to really punch through. But the Brumbies, with a fantastic opportunity, they are yet to score, but they've set a full line out just 6 metres out, and they hit their target, playing off the back. And here goes Jack Gordon, the big lock, rampaging forward. Now they're within a metre. Now there's real feeling close to the line. Force, can they hold out the Brumbies again? They'll have to do it through advantage as well. So the chip's stacked in the Brumbies' favour. Plenty of space out wide if they want to go there, and it looks like they will. It's over the top from Oates. Is there space out wide? You bet there is. Angus Tajikakibau with his first touch scores the try, and it's the Brumbies' first of the afternoon.
Yeah, that's way better from the Brumbies. Some intent finally in attack over the gain line, some speed of ball, and then it's just heads up footy. Chase Oates, he feels the space, he makes the call, and he executes to perfection. And Tajikakibau, as he said, first touch of the afternoon, scores the Brumbies' first try. But it was the forwards who laid the platform. Some speed, some intensity, finally fighting their way over that gain line. And look at the Force defenders on the back foot, scrambling to get themselves into the line. And you could see the space on the wide camera, and Oates didn't overcomplicate it. Just early ball to Inacio over the top. He fed Tajikakibau, and he did the rest.
Yeah, selfless there from Inacio. Probably could have gone himself outside of Hooper, but you could have thrown a blanket. There were 12 Force players all in and around that ruck. Just got sucked in, and good calm head there from Oates to feed Inacio and send Tajikakibau over. Those who followed schoolboy rugby very closely will know just how exciting Angus Tajikakibau is, coming out of the State High system in Brisbane. One of the stars of that GPS program, and played Aussie schoolboys last year. He really is one to watch.
State High have produced so many quality players. Matt Tamua comes to mind from my era. Another one coming through, and a nice moment in that first up. Probably really the first time the Brumbies have really stressed the Force defensively this afternoon. It leads to points.
The Brumbies now looking to exit, something they haven't been able to do from restart, but a man that can get them front foot ball, certainly Malachi Inacio. He does so after laying on an assist as Oates takes to the skies, and you feel the pace of this game, and the intensity is already quickened as Evan Hooper takes the clearance. He shuffles, spins out of one, and immediately into support there is Landman. So good scramble there from the Force to get back behind their player. Landman again into the halfback role. Feeds Newman onto the paddock. Or rather, that's Keegan Daly who's dragged down. And the Force now looking to bash their way out of trouble. Brumbies wanting to pin them down. And it looks like Lukey Aiken will take to the sky here. Leans onto that right boot. So a challenge in the air for Oates, but he's up to it. Bobbles, juggles, manages to recycle. And keeps it away long enough for Fatani Tavake. So the Brumbies now looking to counterpunch. There's space to the left if they want it. Big dummy there from Jack Gordon. No one was falling for that one, and it's popped out the side, so a chance for Rapata on the counterpunch. Plays, goes himself, makes some good meters. Does the man from Rwinga. And all of a sudden, the Force hot on the attack again. Nice interplay from Megson out wide to Beckcroft, who manages to keep himself in. He does well. Good footwork there from the left winger. And the Force starting to set up camp in the 22. They've got runners off the back fence now. That's Daly. Takes a few to bring him down. As they keep calling for runners, around the corner comes Grant, but he's caught high by Kruger. Have they done enough to slow that down? Not this time. Force with the 5-point lead. They're 2 tries. They're looking for a third. They roll around to the right again. Great isolation of space for Tony Tavake. Did a good job to set Hooper free. He's like a pinball, the 12, bouncing in and out of defenders. And still they come, the Western Force, up over 10 phases now. They're looking dangerous. Can they break through this white wall? Brumbies doing everything they can to push up, but it's a nice long pass from Landman. Oh, looking for the pop and finding it is Fatani Tavake. It's desperate stuff from both sides here. And just when it mattered most, the ball is copped off. Out the back goes the Benji. Dumped on the backside too. So the Brumbies get away with one here. Nick Frisbee screaming for them to send it in the commentary box, and send it they do. Here goes Breton up the middle. Dragged down by 2 Force defenders. But there's still space if they want it. Back in the pocket goes Watson. No sets have had enough of this. And kicks it downtown. So the Force now looking to return with interest through Landman, who says, I don't want a piece of this. How about you have a go, Tom Lambo? And Lambo accelerates. But over that pill, you guessed it, I reckon that's Jarvis Orr. And sure enough, the 7 pops up for the Brumbies just when they needed him.
Oh, this is great stuff now from both sides. The Brumbies starting to chance their arm a little bit, playing with some width, and it's brought a real intensity and speed to the game. There are opportunities for both sides all over the park, turning into a really good contest. Lambo is silky operator at the back, isn't he? But Jarvis Orr needs no invitation into the breakdown. Had not a poor moment, but probably not his finest moment in the first half, where he just clocked off and allowed that try there for William Crew as he slid through right on the stroke of half-time. But that's a good moment for the young number 7. Gets himself into the game. Big steal, and an opportunity now for the Brumbies to go back-to-back and put themselves right into this one. Still 23 minutes left on the clock. The Brumbies, they're coming home strongly.
Well, what can they produce here? They set the full lineup. They set the early drive too, so this is very promising stuff from the visitors. After a clutch turnover from Jarvis Orr, they are deep into the 22, and the maul was starting to move, but instead it's played off the back from Watson. And Breton, who's really found himself surging into this second half, looks to carry forward, but he's swallowed up by Holt Brown, the Force skipper, who does a great job of sucking some momentum out of it. It's the Brumbies now looking to bash forward again through their skipper, Eagle. Nate Heppy next up, but the Force getting off the line quickly and looking to put pressure on, slow down this Brumbies ball. We know when the ACT start really stringing phases together, they can be dangerous, and they're starting to play with depth too. Breton is chopped in a nice tackle and swarming over this one of the Force. They can't get it this time though. So Jack Gordon, who's starting to find his feet too in the second half. Few more carries for the big lock. Now playing out the back. Or in some space, we know he's dangerous. He throws the goosey, but he's flirting with danger on that far touchline. Gets them to within 5 now. So the Brumbies looking very dangerous here. What can they do as Heppy is met strongly by the Sea of Blue? Starting to stall, but the runners are coming in thick and fast. Langy is the man who gets them closer to the post, playing out the back and swallowed on a loose ball of the Force, and now they want to punch. Landman, after a bobbling ball, they will come back for an error. It's breathless stuff here at HBF Park.
It is. It's end-to-end. Both sides are giving it absolutely everything in the heat. We might have a drinks break here, I reckon. It's right on the stroke of the 60th minute, but this would be a pretty big let-off for the Force if it is. The Brumbies are hot on attack, building pressure nicely. The speed of the game's gone up considerably. Watson's doing a good job keeping that continuity in the game, moving the ball for the Brumbies in attack, and we're going to keep playing here. I think this is the right call from the referee. We are due to have a drinks break around that 20-minute mark of each half, but the Brumbies have earned this right here to have another crack, I think.
Absolutely. It's good call there from Sam Jones. He's done a good job to let most of it, particularly around the ruck, it's flowed quite nicely so far in the second half after being a little bit story. The Force now looking to put a squeeze on, but the arm goes out the way of the Brumbies, and that's a big penalty on the hour. The Brumbies trailing by 5, and they go quickly off the back. It's Watson, finds Oates. There's space on the left wing. It was Jacob Johnson who gets them to within 5, but desperate defence from the Force, and they have the advantage too. So the Brumbies, hot on the attack. They can sniff the chalk from here. Looking to go in tight, and they're going to get over. That is a massive play and a huge swing in momentum here in Super Rugby Next Gen, Nick Frisbee.
And once again, it's a little halfback. Watson bringing some speed, some momentum into the game. He took the quick tap and he was off and running with Chase Oates down that left edge. And then the Brumbies pack on the front foot just go to work. And I think it's big Eli Lungy that's crashed over and scored the try. This was the moment. This is the key moment for mine. Fatigue coming into the game in the heat of the battle out here this afternoon. Watson, Oates, Johnson go within inches. Jeez, it was a good tackle from Landman over in the corner to stop them. But then some patience, some continuity from the Brumbies attack. You can see the Force defenders. They're shot to pieces here. Their last defender was actually inside the first post, and that's just size, strength, physicality from Lungy. He crashes over, and now a big kick here to poke their noses in front for the first time this afternoon.
Chase Oates, the man off the tee. He kicked 3 conversions last week. Didn't quite find his radar against the Reds. But he's built nicely into this game. He'll be full of confidence after sparking that down the side. Gee, you'd love to see that as a halfback too for Sam Watson chancing his arm there.
It was good. You could just see from his head, he actually got the call from Chase Oates because Watson had his eyes forward. He was ready for the scrum, and he heard Oates' voice sweeping in behind the back. So good interplay between the halves, and big moment now.
So Chase Oates on his preferred side just pushes it a little to the right, so we are square. 12 all here in round 2 of Super Rugby Next Gen. On your screens at home, Rugby.com.au or the Stand platform. It's do or die stuff here. Whoever loses this is out of the running for the 2026 inaugural title. After both teams copped round 1 losses, but it is all guns blazing here after a quick tap to spark this lovely try. Eventually, Eli Lange laying on the 5-pointer. Gee, hasn't he really flexed his muscle in the second half? Huge turnover, big try.
He has. I'm sure the Brumbies coaches asked all the entire pack to stand up in the second half. They were well and truly out-muscled by the Force early, but a word you keep saying, that they're building into this game, aren't they, the Brumbies? Their big names starting to stand up. Lungy, Oates really coming to the fore. And 12 all really, they have no right to be here, the Brumbies. The Force could have blown this one away, but they've absorbed a huge amount of pressure, and now the game is here for their taking, I feel, in this last 18 minutes.
So if you've just tuned in, it was the Western Force scoring early through their skipper Luke Holt-Brown, and then Will Crew, the big second rower, diving over just before halftime. So the hosts actually led 12-0 at Oranges, and in the 20 minutes since, the Brumbies have come out swinging. It was a great try from Angus Tajikakibau. Oh, just his first touch, he came straight on and strolled over after the Force were all sucked in tight. The Brumbies did a good job to unlock it, and again, playing quickly, starting to up the tempo. The Brumbies are finding some dividends, and it's a great try there from Eli Lange. So we are all square. How do you see this one playing out from here, Frizz? It feels like the Brumbies hold all the cards at the moment, but we know what the Force can do when they hang onto the pill. Yeah, and they've been impressive and probably just haven't taken their moments when they've had them. And the Brumbies, the switch in intent's been the key to the change in this game for mine, and they're starting to look really good, as we said, warming to the task nicely, and they look like at this stage they're coming home with a wet sail. And
There's just that change of mindset for mine. We've seen them shift the ball to the edges. We've seen them change some angles, find some seams, and it's just unlocked them a little bit in attack and starting to look very good, but a long way still to go on this one.
So it's energy sapping stuff out in the middle at HBF Park. The first of a double header. Obviously got Super Rugby Pacific to follow. There's plenty going on in your Stan Spat form as well. Moana getting a big win over the Drua as well in Fiji. If you check that out on Stan Sport Rugby as well. Lots to come. Blues and Chiefs battle of the Bombays coming up. Of course, the main event out west. Western Force hosting the Brumbies. It was a classic Aussie derby as play resumes here. 17 minutes to play. It's 12 apiece in Super Rugby Next Gen, and the Brumbies have hung on to this restart and made a few changes as well. So Chase Giros is the man who's come on the 21 jersey to inject some pace back into the game. We've also seen Tavita Luffland come onto the field. It's his first crack of Super Rugby Next Gen. Another Brisbane product. He's come through BBC, and pretty sure he played Queensland under-18s last year as well. So lots of exciting new prospects, as is the way for Super Rugby Next Gen, and this is exactly what the Brumbies would have wanted after that drinks break, a get out of jail free card.
Absolutely. All the little calls starting to go their way at the moment. The bounce of the ball and the referee's calls. I think this game sets up nicely for Chase Giros. Plenty of fatigue in the legs now. We've mentioned it's hot. It's been wide to wide and end to end, and someone with a little bit of X factor around the breakdown could be lethal in this last 15, 16 minutes.
So they keep an eye on that man in the 21 who just delivers now. Oates feeds an inside runner. It's a good strong carry there from Cooper Eagle, who gets his side on the front foot. The Brumbies skipper. And now inside into the attacking 50 go the ACT Brumbies. Playing out the back. That's a lovely ball from Chase Oates. It's created space for Breton, who's solid. He shakes off the first and the second, just dragged into touch. But you can see the intent from the Brumbies. They're going to throw it around in these dying minutes.
Yeah, they completely changed their mindset, and it's paying big dividends. Breton, he's been heavily involved this afternoon, and he's been a key factor in their change of fortune. That's another great ball from Chase Oates, who's under pressure. The forced defensive line coming up and out at him. Breton, physical on the edge, went straight over the top of one and just couldn't beat another.
He came up ginger, didn't he, Tom Lambo? Breton running a train over the top of the Force 23. And it's the Force who look to exit. They go up the middle of the field, but they don't want to give Angus Tajikaki about too much space because he loves to chip and he loves to chase. Finds some open pasture, gets the bounce too, but just coughed up in contact. So the Force with a chance to counterpunch. But we've heard the referee's whistle. We're going to quickly come back here. Let's get a look at this call, Nick Frisbee.
Is this tackled in the air on the chip and chase?
I think so. So the arm's gone up the way of the Brumbies. It's a big turnaround. I thought it might have been a blocking call.
I think you might be right. Saw the action from the referee, yeah, blocking. It was lovely work from Taji Kakabau. Found the space, got the bounce of the ball. Just wasn't able to regather under pressure. It's a big change of fortunes because that looked for all money like it was going to be play on and force ball, maybe down the other end. And fortunes have changed drastically here. It's the Force now playing with a bit of a defensive mindset. We've seen them kick away plenty of ball in this second half. Maybe just feeling the pressure a little bit that the Brumbies are applying.
It's exactly what we love to see. Our next generation of Wallabies tested in the tough moments. And now the Brumbies looking to put the hurt on, but just a forward pass. And it's that lack of clinical finishing again off first face set piece. It must be frustrating to watch for the coach's box. I know it's frustrating us too in the call, Frizz.
Yeah, for sure. It's neither side just either, and has been able to just consistently apply pressure, and that is a mile forward out of Ewald Kruger's hands. And that's just time in the saddle, like combinations and you know, time working on their set piece. Overrun there by Cooper Eagle. It's about a metre forward out of the hands and an easy one for the referee, but a very, very soft let-off once again.
Yeah, it was tough. Stevie Wonder could have seen that went forward. It was
and they were there too, like they were well and truly over the gain line once again. Kruger had actually done a good job to get outside that seam.
So new man onto the field too for the Western Force in jersey 21, Angus Cornish. He had a lot of energy off the pine actually against the Tars in a losing effort, but he's come on to match Giros, add a bit of pace. It's certainly what they need, the Western Force. So the area is delivering off the ruck base. Finds a new man. Looks like Ollie McGinnity's out there as well for the Western Force in jersey 19. And there's the Force who get the penalty for offside. So a let off now for the hosts, and they'll have a chance to find a bit of territory. We're getting into the curly moments here. Frizz 12 all, that 12 minutes to play. It's tough going. And
he hasn't found touch, Landman.
We'll have a peek here, the referee, and it's called just out. So Taji Kakibau not quite getting the timing right. It's dangerous stuff. Eventually, Landman's turned that into a pretty good result, but heart and mouth stuff for a bit there.
It wasn't pretty, but it's going to be effective nonetheless. And really, it's the first opportunity of the second half for the Force, or at least for a long period of time. They had that early bit of ball right at the start of the second half, but it's been all the Brumbies since then. I think this may have actually been called a knock-on, is it? We're going to have a scrum anyway. Really good platform to attack. The Force backs are spread right across the full width of the field.
It's in good shape now. Started from Rapata, who finds Lamb, and that's a lovely long ball to Hooper, who's been busy. He steps off the right, gets a good offload away too. As Beckcroft is swallowed up by the Brumbies defence. They've managed to reset well, but the Force looking to stretch the visitors from the ACT. It's Cornish calling for runners. Finds one in Big Bradley Coon. He's a tough man to wrap up the tight head prospect. Here's McGinnity, looking to add a bit of pace in. Fresh legs off the bench. Cornish caught in two minds, eventually gets a ball to Rapata, takes two to bring him down, and he's under pressure immediately at ruck time. But they'll come back. They were playing advantage for offside again. So 22 metres out-ish. And take that back to about 26. And the penalty is, well, the arm's gone up the Brumbies' way. There we go. Bit confused.
Finally
there.
made his mind up, and there's plenty of Force players pointing to the sticks here. Could see a shot at goal. And I think that's the right call. 10 minutes to go. Put yourselves, well, just got to kick the goal first, but poke your nose in front. Make the Brumbies have to come up with something. They're running out of gas here, the Force. They are tired, they are fatigued. There's lots of hands on hips, there's hands on knees. This could be just the little lift they need to try and finish this one off.
So seemingly out of nothing, the Brumbies had possession and territory, but it's turned around in the space of 40 short seconds, and Justin Landman has a chance to put the Western Force in front heading into the final 10 minutes. He's dead in front of the sticks, 26 metres out, and he puts it through. So the Western Force go up. It's their first score of the second half. It's 3 points off the tee, and they lead the Brumbies 15-12 with 9 minutes to play.
And now I'm interested to see what the Force do. They've run from everywhere this afternoon. But can these young kids continue to do that under the pressure of 10 minutes to go, a 3-point lead?
Well, it's been tough going in the heat. 32 degrees, full sun. Nice dry track, but heavy underfoot still, that thick HBF turf. And the Brumbies will want to try and pin the Force down here, force a hasty exit. And the Force equally know they just need to get out of their half. Good strong carries like that'll do the trick. That's nice from Ollie McGinnity. Adding his bulk and his frame off the bench. Cornish lands on the right foot, takes it up, but not been picked up cleanly. Eventually it's called backwards, and it's stripped away now by Dylan Breton, who's been busy. So the Brumbies back in possession. No one's picked up that ball from Giros, and it's bounced off the toe. Has it come off the foot? Oh, I think they've got away with one there, the Brumbies. As Giros looks to snipe around the corner. Gallagher says not today, wraps him up. Eventually lets him go, but it's the Brumbies still in possession. And Chase Oates is looking to spark something. Jarvis Orr And that one's been stripped impressively, acrobatically by McGloin. Wow, the pace is really starting to pick up in the West.
Well, that's had a bit of everything, that has. There's a little maybe knock on off the foot. Jarvis Orr did really well here. And McGloin, with a huge defensive play, comes in, puts a shot under the ribs of Kruger, comes up with the pill, then runs into touch himself. So after all that, it's still going to be Brumbies' ball almost on the same blade of grass.
Little moments really starting to matter for both teams now. Execution key from set piece. Neither side really been able to nail the line out. It's been very messy so far, but this one's clean. Laughlin's been busy since coming into the attack, and they'll have a bit of advantage here from that error. It was Big Max Johnson putting the mid out. I think they'll just call it a knock-on. Didn't look like he was going for the intercept. I'm not sure if he knew what he was doing in space either. We'll head back to Scrumtown, and I don't think the Force would mind that too much. It's soaking up precious minutes here, Frizz. They want to keep him in this part of the park.
Yeah, definitely. And on the flip side, if I'm the Brumbies, I'm actually thinking territory here. Still 7 minutes on the clock. Chase Oates, find some space in the backfield, kick it down there, and try and apply some pressure to the Force. See what they can come up with.
So crunch moments now. Into the 74th minute. The Force putting on the squeeze at scrum time, but the Brumbies, I think they've done enough to hold on to it here. Goes straight up. So they'll have another feed, but it's precious seconds taken away from the Brumbies.
It is. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. That ball is at the back. I'd just love to see that be play on. Yep, I get the front row has stood up, but the ball's at the number 8's feet. Let's just say get that out and play on. We'd lose another 30, 40 seconds here, repacking another scrum where we could be playing downfield.
That's on Giros too, right? You just want to take it and go. Get the pace back into this game. We know it's been working for the Brumbies so far. They want to play up tempo. Force want to slow it down, keep it in this patch. So here we are. 5.5 minutes to play at HBF. The margin is 3. The Brumbies are chasing. Oates throws a long ball to the man who's done so well so far. Punching, surging his way through is Anasio, but he's well wrapped up on the Force, are scrambling to slow that ball down. Jarvis Orr with a bit of footwork in the line. Dragged down eventually. And Giros wants to pick up the pace too. Force steaming up off that line. Trying to strangle the Brumbies out of this one. The hand spin has been picked off. Here's a chance for McGloin. He throws the goosey. Has he got the pace to run away with it? Ryan McGloin for the Western Force might just have sealed it on home soil. The intercept, the 50-metre sprint, and it's 5 crucial points in the final 5 minutes.
Well, even better, it should be 7 crucial points. He's run it right round under the sticks, McGloin. And this is a big moment. This is defensive pressure. And this is backing yourself up and in, McGloin. And didn't he show a clean set of heels here? Under pressure from Oates and Johnson in desperation, trying to get back. But Ryan McGloin, take a bow, comes up with the play of the afternoon. And is that enough for the Force to get home here at HBF Park?
Absolutely massive play. I think it might be Frizz. That is huge. 3-on-1. And somehow he comes up with the intercept. Edward Kruger eventually throwing that loose pill. Just didn't quite know what to do. Could have tucked it and run. But instead he puts it right into McGloin's breadbasket. And this really is a chance to seal it for the Force, you'd think. The margin already 8. Take it out to 10 with a successful kick from Landman, who strikes it. Doesn't like it. So we're still in play. It will be a 2-score game though. The Force 20 leading the Brumbies 12. What do the visitors have to do to get back into it here?
Oh, they've got to go contestable at the kickoff first and foremost. Got to get ball and hand. But Kruger, that's a no-look pass straight into the basket of McGloin, who had done a good job to put himself in the frame and force the issue. But that's poor body language read. That is Kruger. He throws the dummy there. He goes straight through. This needs to be contestable.
Well, it certainly was. Flying up out of the line was Breton, but the Force have done enough to secure it. So, 3.5 minutes to play. The Force 20 lead the Brumbies 12 here in round 2 of Super Rugby Next Gen. Remember, this is the Western Force side beaten 97-5 last week. What a turnaround it has been from the Westerners. And Angus Cornish says, I don't want to borrow this in my half. Puts it up nice and high and contestable. And coming down with it, a fantastic result. I think it's Jackson Bridges who's held on to that. Then a chance to counterpunch offload, and now the force of freewheeling. Evan Hooper stepping, surging, gets the offload away. Fatani Tavake, he can seal it, and he does. The Western Force, 2 tries in 2 minutes. They will take this game, and they've done it in style.
Oh, they finish how they started. An absolutely electric backline play. Hooper, Fatani to Tavake. This was the key moment here. This big line from the number 8, Nate Gallagher, the offload to Hooper. He has been hard to handle all day. The big left foot summed it up beautifully, won the contact. And the youngster, the 18-year-old backing up, Fatani Tavake, scores the try that seals it over in the West. And it's scintillating from the men in blue.
Oh, it's red hot. It's red hot, Nick Frisbee. You don't see better tries than that. But put it down to the great contestable kick from Angus Cornish. Jackson Bridges getting up nice and high, the replacement back rower. Quick recycle, and 2 touches there from Hooper on the way to Fatani Tavake's try. That is champagne footy from the Western Force. Landman can't have the extras, but I think that's the hammer blow.
Oh, it definitely is now. And I love the way that this Force side has just continued to back themselves all afternoon. Right from the opening whistle, they've shifted the ball to the edges. And every opportunity they've got this afternoon, they've thrown it around, played some brilliant footy. And they've come up trumps there in a pressure moment to seal the game. Come up with 2 fantastic tries. It's just brilliant to see these youngsters given a platform, put them under pressure and come up trumps and perform.
It wasn't really punch for punch. It was almost missed hit for missed hit across the opening 70. And all of a sudden, Western Force have loaded up the gloves. And they've done spectacularly. Remember, 12-all not long ago. And Justin Landman's penalty has seen the floodgates open for the Western Force. Plus the error now. It's going to be a healthy victory for the hosts here in Super Rugby Next Gen. And we keep harping on about it, but 92-point losers last week. They have done a spectacular job, and I think so much freezes down to the change in the halves as well. Aiken and Landman have been really composed.
Yeah, Aiken was excellent when he was out there on the field. He controlled things beautifully. Landman has been great as well. As you said, he has been so composed, particularly late in this game. That's been a big inclusion, and a great coaching performance as well. Jeremy Thrush, 97 points last. It's a 105-point turnaround if you factor in the 2 score differences. So, well done all round over in the West.
And they're not done yet. They're going to punch again, and Rapata throws the pill. Look at this. Look at this from Johan Bearcroft. It's the cherry on top of a beautiful blue cake. And the Western Force have absolutely smoked the Brumbies in the final 10.
Oh, it's the back line just putting on an absolute clinic off the scrum base. It's the line again. Evan Hooper working off the ball. The offload in contact to Rapata and just summed it up beautifully at the end. Didn't overplay his hand. The early ball to Beecroft, and he dashes away. Seals it once again for the Force. But just brilliant backline play from the set piece, continuing to back themselves and coming up trumps once again. And this is a big win now for the men in blue.
Well, we said earlier, Frizz, the dam wall would break. We thought it was going the Brumbies' way, but haven't the Force proved us wrong? They have put on a clinic here in the final 10, and Johan Beecroft, the Cottesloe kid, finishes it off with a sensational try. Rapata, Evan Hooper, gee, hasn't he been excellent in the 12 jersey as well? And Justin Landman slots the extras to finish. And referee says we've got time, but the celebrations have already begun at HBF Park. It's the Force 32, leading the Brumbies 12. They've put on 20 points in the final 10 minutes. It has been nothing short of spectacular.
From nowhere, and all long-range efforts, 40, 50 metres out, multiple sets of hands, the back line combining beautifully.
So final plays here. Chase Oates wants the Brumbies to get something out of this with the Force looking to just clear it. I think the Brumbies have got their hands on this one though, so they'll roll the dice one last time. Giros stepping through. Oh, we've been waiting to see this from Chase Giros. Gets the offload away as well, and finally some belated signs of life from the Brumbies. They're going to throw it. They're going to chance their arm late. Jarvis Orr linking with Oates. A chance down wide for Blake Miller, who steps back inside. And skipper Luke Holt-Brown says, not on my patch. He's wrapped him up. And the Brumbies chasing a consolation try here at HBF Park. What can the visitors leave with? Hopefully something, says Jarvis Orr, who shrugs off his opposite. It's a massive run from Jarvis Orr, 7 on 7. And just within touching distance of the try line, Giros shakes off the first. He can't get rid of the second. And the big boys might go to work here for the Brumbies. The arm goes out, so they want to leave with something. He's been held up this time. But ACT, they want to throw the last punch. They want to land it too here. 83 minutes gone. It feels like we've seen more rugby in the past 13 than we did in the first 70, Frizz.
Oh, I think the Brumbies are still in shock as to what's happened in the last 10 minutes of this game. They've got to find a way to compose themselves here and see if they can get something out of this. Do they go for the maul or go for the scrum? Good call. Right underneath the post. And can they throw a shot of their own?
Well, you love to see this. Making the big boys work in the 84th minute. But it's a good position too. And remember, it's not done yet for the Brumbies. They're definitely out of running for Next Gen overall. But I'm sure, like all Brumbies, they'll be looking at Tar Week next week going, we'd love to spoil that party. And make sure you're tuning in for the rest of Next Gen. Round 2 continues tomorrow, Sunday. It's a massive game at Ballymore. The Queensland Reds and the New South Wales Waratahs. What a matchup that is. I'm sure the Reds boys will be keen to flip the script from last week. But what a finish here from the Brumbies. Angus Tajikakibau. He's scored 2 tries and barely a finger's been laid on him. Consolation stuff. But a nice finish for the visitors here at HBF.
And it's the same play the Force just used on them. The centre coming from the other side of the field. The 10 in Chase Oates just squares up nicely, drags that flanker off the side of the scrum, creates the space for Tajikakibau. And he gets a second and he finishes the game off nicely for the Brumbies. They're well beaten here this afternoon.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen,
and it was a tussle. It was tied out there for 70 minutes.
Next Gen competition with the Western Force running away with it 32-19. Once again, ladies and gentlemen,
Well, there you have it, folks. 32-19 after it was 12-all with just 10 minutes to play. A proper fairy tale finish for the Force. They score 3 tries in 10 minutes, plus the penalty to Justin Lamb, and a consolation try late to Angus Tajikakibau. But as you mentioned, Frizz, Western Force deserving winners after an impressive finish here on their home patch. I guess I don't even know how to sum up that final 10 minutes. We saw them throw over a penalty, but the try seemed to come out of nowhere.
They did. Well, it's the try from McGloin, probably all but sealed it, didn't it? 20 points to 12 with only a couple of minutes left on the clock. But it's like the pressure just was released and the floodgates open. We saw them score some brilliant tries and just expressing themselves nicely. And this is right back at the start of the game. The Force started beautifully. This is the width that they played with right throughout the game, and really they probably played the better looking footy. The Brumbies were a little bit scrappy. They went set piece to set piece and tried to find a way to get themselves back into it, which they did. This was the try on the stroke of half time, William Crew, and at this point it was 12 points to 0 at the break. The Force had all the answers, and the Brumbies, they needed to come up with something. They came out firing. Their big men started to stand up. In particular, Eli Lungi. Chase Oates was involved. Breton had a really good second half, didn't he? And this was a really nice ball. That man who we saw moments ago, Tajikakibau, he crossed for his first. And there's a sharp bit of work from the halves. You see the call from Chase Oates. Sammy Watson backs him up. They nearly score in the corner. And the big men go to work. And Lockie, 12 all here with 20 minutes on the clock. It kind of felt like the Brumbies were coming home with a wet sail, didn't it?
Well, it's certainly what it's felt like, and I think they had so many opportunities deep in the 22 as well. They reverted to that classic Brumbies mold. They were bashing and crashing. They looked better in tight, but just a bit of a break in concentration from the Brumbies that let play go upfield. Landman hits the penalty, and as you mentioned, this was the turning point. McGloin picking Kruger's pocket, and the toe to get away from Brenton Anote skips out of the desperate ankle tap, and crucially running it around. Not enough pressure coming from Cooper Eagle in that situation, but it's just, pop the cork from here. Look at the offloads. Hooper throws a magic ball, sucks in 3 defenders there to let Fatani Tavake loose. And what a finish that was in the corner. You thought that was about it, and then they throw out this, Frizz.
Well, you just wouldn't see a better counter-attacking try than that. And this was a set-piece perfection, that was. Hooper again involved on the inside. Some nice work from Rapata as well, who put away his winger Beecroft. And then this one to finish off the game, the Brumbies scrapping right to the death, even though the result was done and dusted, and Taji Kakabau got his second. But there you have it, 32 points to 19, 5 tries to 3. Some wayward kicking from Landman, 2 from 5, Oates 2 from 3, and that penalty there, right with about 12 minutes to go, gave the Force a bit of confidence to come out and finish it off, didn't it?
Oh, it was just a spectacular finisher. Can't believe what we've witnessed here in the final 10. It's just what you love to see. So the Force run out winners in round 2 of Super Rugby Next Gen, 32 to 19, if you can believe. But don't go anywhere, because tomorrow the Reds and the Waratahs at Ballymore, the home of Queensland Rugby, both sides coming off big bonus point wins in round 1. This one really feels like it could decide who runs out with Next Gen this year.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, the Tars are huge winners here last weekend. Can they back that up? The Reds, they were solid against the Brumbies. They were really effective in attack, but no doubt a bigger test there tomorrow at Ballymore.
Well, thanks for tuning in on Rugby.com.au and the Stand platform. If you are on Stand, make sure you stick around and tune in for the second of the doubleheader here in Perth. It's the Brumbies and the Force coming up.